Hello again, my name is Jenoah and welcome back to the website membership tutorial series in which we will create a membership website. In the previous video we created this registration page which works, and this video is a little follow-up about more security, because in order to enter an account, of course, you need a username and password. So we are going to add a password, and we are also going to check with PHP if every field is filled in, and if not already, the account exists. So let's proceed. Let's go to the registration page and first of all add some password fields. So in order to add some password fields, we are going to create a new label for, of course, a password, because that is the input field that we are going to give this label to. So password, then add a break, and let's add another input, but this time we are not going to give it a type of text but a type of password. And what this does, it replaces all the characters with little stars or dots or whatever you want to call them, and this will make it way more secure, since people who are looking over the shoulder of the user are not able to see the password that the user is filling in. As you probably already noticed, I am filling in some more, but I already explained what they do. I added a name, a placeholder, and the required tag. Let's look over here, and as you can see, we can just fill in something and all the characters will be replaced. Well, in order to make it secure, we want to make the user confirm their password, and we want to do this so that you do not have to reset their password whenever they misspelled it. And in order to prevent this, we want them to confirm the password. So let's copy and paste it and change everything to confirm password instead of just password. So confirm password, name will be this, and that is this. So now we have this: username, first name, last name, password, confirm password, the origin, and the age. This is our form complete for now. You can also add a CAPTCHA, and this will prevent spammers, but that is something for another time, because that is a tutorial on its own. For now, we want to go to the if is set and add two variables. The first one is password, and this will be $password equals $_post, then the name of our password field. The first one is password, and then we also want to create a confirm password, and we will call this conf password, which stands obviously for confirm password. So we are doing this. I thought I still had it in my clipboard. Yes, I have. So we created these, and now we want to well, actually just checks if these passwords are the same in the first place. Well, it's better to check if everything is filled in before checking if they are the same. Although we do have the required options in our input fields, not all browsers support it, so I do recommend checking it at the back end of your website by creating an if statement which checks if every field is filled in before submitting the form. And you can do that by creating an if statement and then type if exclamation mark empty, which the exclamation mark actually means not. So you're now saying if not empty. So not empty is the same as filled. So if it is filled, and then we are talking about the username. So if the username is not empty, and now we also want to check for multiple conditions in this form. So if the username is not empty, and the first name is not empty, and the last name is not empty, and the origin is not empty, and just proceed that, these are multiple conditions. In order to check them, we want to, well, like I said, check multiple things. And we can show that, we can explain that to the code by using double and signs. And the double and signs actually just means and. So now we have this. We can copy it and paste it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So we already pasted it once, twice, thrice, 4, 5, 6. And then we can delete those latest ends because there isn't anything after that. Then we want this. And now we want to change all the variables to the right variables. So last name, origin, password, conf password, and age. So if it is not empty, then we will do this, and otherwise we will say something like error, not all the fields are filled in. Well, okay, let's be a bit more fancy and create a proper error message. This is not necessary, but this just looks better. So we are going to add some PHP inside of our HTML. So open and close the PHP tag, and now echo. What we're going to echo is message. A message is a variable that we are going to create in just a second. And well, actually now. So what we're going to do, on top of our HTML, no, not our HTML, in the top of our PHP, we are going to create a new variable called message, which equals empty. So just nothing. So there by default is nothing, and it is better to put it in some tags. So let's put it in some paragraph. Like I said in previous tutorial, if you want to add multiple items in an echo statement, then you want to have the first item followed by a dot, and then the second item, and the third, and just keep on going with that, because an item is actually a bit like the and symbol, but not the same though. Anyway, just use it if you want to add multiple things, like what I'm now doing. This is a string that followed up by a variable and then by a string again. Yes, I can also just remove these, but anyway, it's better for you to learn. So now message will be echoed. Well, it will always be echoed, but for now it's empty, so it is echoing nothing. Yeah, only the P things, but it won't be displayed that much. So what we're going to do, we are going to say the message is something. And what it is, well, it is you haven't filled in all the fields. Please look into them. We've now got this, and whenever we haven't filled in anything, it will display this error. In order to test it, I'm going to remove this required function. So reload the website, click on register, and we need to fill in something. It doesn't matter if it is right. I'm 2. As you can, nope, thank you. But as you can see, it says you haven't filled in all the fields. Please look into them. And that is the message that we have. And we have successfully been added to the website. Yes, that is right. Although we will prevent this in a minute because we haven't said that it can continue on this. But obviously there's an error, so we're going to fix that in a second. That is the message. So we can also change this echo to message, and then we have this, and does it work? I think it works. We'll hopefully not have to find out. We have the message over here, and now we want to place this into our first if statement, and we can now also align it properly. Also replace these by message, and we can remove this as well. We should do that as well over here. We now have our messages, so whenever something is going wrong or going right, we will be notified over here. So that is a nice thing to have. And let's proceed with all the checks that we're going to do. Whenever everything is filled in, we also want to check if the passwords are the same. So another if statement, if password is the same as conf password. So now we are looking now we are comparing these two variables, and a double equal sign is actually a way to compare things. So if let's say we have a condition which is if button pressed equals true, is true, and because you compare if those two conditions are the same. If they are the same, it will just return true, and if they are not the same, it will return false. It's probably not a good explanation, but anyway, to keep it short, this compares things. So if the password, so the first field, is the same as the second password field, then we're going to do this. So this, and otherwise, else we will do this. Let me align. Yep. So then we will say otherwise message equals the passwords you filled in aren't the same. Please check them, or something like that. That is the password thing. And if everything has been filled in correctly, so a username, first name, last name, the passwords are the same, and everything is just filled in, then we want to check if the user already exists. And this is where it might become a little bit harder, because in the previous video we learned how to insert something into a database, But now we want to try and read something out of a database. So if a user already exists, and then do something with that. And well, let's just write the SQL for it. This is the check user SQL, and this will be the insert user SQL, and we will replace, oh no, yep, like this and like that. We'll replace that and create another SQL. And if you want to learn how to use these SQL commands, what we can do is go to our database. So local host slash phpMyAdmin, go to our database, which is tutorial, go to user, go to SQL, and then we can just try something. So like insert, this is a preview of what it can look like. Of course it doesn't work because there isn't any value, which anyway, it doesn't matter. We will select something from what we have, and let's create it. So we will create a select query. So select user name, because from everything that we have in here, let's see if this works. Yes, from everything that we have in here, we want to check if the username is already taken. So we will select the username, select username from user. So we will say tries to select the username from the table user, where, because if we just say this, then it will give us back everything that is found in there. So that's why I say where username equals and then a username. So let's say this is my username, but I think we should put it like this. Yes, because now it is a string. So it returns everything where the username is my username, and if it can't find anything with that username, it will give an error. And or no, it just won't return anything. I'm sorry. And this way we can see if we get one or more, because yeah, I don't know how there can be more, but still, if there are one or more results that are sent back to this script, then the user exists. So whenever there is nothing returned to our script, then the user doesn't exist. And one way to implement this is just to paste the command that we made in here, because of course I copied it, and then we are going to say username. So what we're doing, we select the username from the table user, where the username is what the user filled in into the field. And whenever this gives more than, or it gives one or more than one result, then the user already exists. So this command will give you back the user amount. Or no, it won't give you back. That is the command that we are going to execute. Let's make it working. So what we're going to do, we are going to create a new variable, and we call it check user result equals my SQLE, because we want to get back the result of the query. So MySQLi, I'm sorry, in Dutch it is MySQLe, and in English it is MySQLi. I'm sorry, I will try to put my focus on to that. So MySQLi underscore query Then we of course want to make the connection like we did over here, and then we want to execute our SQL statement that we created, and that will be just this. Now we will say if this is true, so the checked user result is a reference to MySQL query. So if it can be executed, then we want to do something, and this something is mysql.num. No, we want to if we can execute this MySQL query, then we want to create another if statement. If MySQL num underscore rows from our check user results, that's why we create the reference, is more than or equal to 1, and that means that the user exists. Then we want to give the message, and otherwise it can proceed with this. So now we have this. We also want to add another bracket. We want to set in the if statement of the MySQL num rows if that is true. So if the user exists, we want to set the message to something like sorry, the user name has already been taken, please choose another one. And otherwise it can do whatever it has to do. So otherwise we'll do this, and we again need to copy this this in here, align it, and for those who want to know how I align it, I select everything, then Control Alt I, but I think I do that with a plugin in here or an extension, and it is called indentator. Then you can quickly indent everything so it looks nice again. And whenever all these conditions apply, so if everything is filled in and the passwords are the same and the user doesn't exist yet, then you can add the user. Otherwise it displays the errors. That is actually what we have done. So let's test it, save it, go into here, and we need to remove this and see how my username already is taken. So Jenoah, my real name, and my username in this case is already taken. So let's test it over here. Let's refresh the page and try to create another user with the exact same things and add a password. Of course, we haven't added the password. We'll do that in a second, but I need to just test. So I will say test 1 2 3, test 1 2 3, password is set, origin Netherlands. I am not 12 years old, but that doesn't matter. Let's click on register, and it gives an error on line 26 because the result could not be converted into an int. Okay, so we got this error, but what we need to do is we need to move this to here. Now it should work. Let's refresh this, click on OK, and as you can see, the username has already been taken. Please choose another one. And if we choose another one, so Jenoah K, with the K is first letter of my last name. Let's take the same password. Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3. Yeah, sure. I'm from Belgium and I am 98 years old. Then we have successfully been added to the website, which means that whenever we refresh this, we have this. But as we can see, it still does add us to the website or to the database. Oh, it probably did because the first time we haven't correctly had a proper if statement. Let's try it again. Delete this. Yes. And try it again. Username has already been taken. Let's refresh. And I am not in there. So that was just a mistake that we have already solved. Now I want to check if the passwords do not interfere with each other. So let's just do this, and now something completely different. As you can see, the passwords you filled in aren't the same. Please check them. So all of the messages work. You can now not go into proceeding with adding your account to the database. And there was one thing that we also needed to do, and that was adding our password into the database. And how we can do that, it can be done in several ways. And for now, if you are a well, not serious business, because this is a bit not very secure way of encrypting your passwords, but you want to encrypt your password because otherwise you just have your password in your database like in normal text. So what we want to do is, before we add the password into our database, we will say password equals SHA1 password, which is a not very good way of securing your database password, but sure, it's good enough for now. So we say the password is the encrypted version of the password. Now we can add it into our database, which means that we have to modify the structure of your database. So go to your PHP My Admin panel, go to your table, then structure, then go to let me see where it is. Over here. Click on start. This start. But first, let's check the position. Where is it? It is behind last name. So let's go to after last name. Click on start. Then add password is a varchar with a length of 255. Click on save. Then go into our inserts. Add our password. And also over here, add our password. Save. Let's remove our current users so that we can add a fresh user with a password. Username. Then add a password which is test in my case. Not that you will be able to hack me because I'm not going to upload this site, but anyway. My age is 18. I have registered because we have the successfully registered message. Then into the database we can click on explore, and as you can see, the password is an encrypted version of our password. Everything is in there, which means that the registration page is complete, or actually almost complete, because we need to add a link to go back to the home page, because now you're stuck on this page. And let's also already make a link to a login page that we haven't made yet, but what we are going to do in the next tutorial. So let's do that. At the bottom of our form, underneath, we are going to add a link to a login page. So we are going to say already have an account. Then now we are going to create a link. Then login.php, that is how we are going to call it in the next episode. So then login here. Now at the bottom of our form, oh yeah, look, if we now refresh, we will have the error. Nice. Here, already have an account, and then log in here, go to here, and it doesn't exist, but anyway, that works. And we can also link the word membership website to our homepage if we would like to. So let's do that. A membership website over here. And href is index, yeah, something like this. Now that is a link to our homepage. Yeah, we can do that. Click on there. Now we can go into here. We can create a user, as we already did a few times, with a encrypted version of your password. And now we can also go back. We do have a link to the login page, which we are going to use in a next tutorial. So that is actually it. We are not going to do any programming anymore, but just to show you that it is not very secure. If we would be able to infiltrate into this database and get our hands into this password, we will search for sh1 decrypt, then go to the first website that we can find. No, thank you. Then go into here, paste this, and enter this code. 9 to $, or it is an S. I don't know. I think this. It says test. That is our password. So it is not very secure, but it is secure enough for the eye, so that you at least don't have to really worry about the administrator of a website to check it, to see what your password is. Because if you wouldn't encrypt it, then it would just plainly say test, and that's your password, and that is not secure at all. So let's change it back to the encrypted version. This is our password. It's encrypted to the eye, but not for the system, because as you can see, first website on Google, I got a hit on a decryptor. So yeah, for one thing, don't really worry about a password if you have a very strong password, because if we go into here and get a very long password like hello, my name is Jenoah, I am pretty sure nobody uses that as their password. Hash that. This is the SHA1 version of that. And if we now go to the decryptor, try to decrypt that. So 6 p.m. UGL, if we were to decrypt that, it doesn't have a match because it looks to things it already has found. And so if you do have a secure password, then don't worry, it will probably not be very easily decryptable. So anyway, it doesn't really matter for this tutorial. This is just a basic tutorial, and in the next episode we are going to work on the login system, how to design the page, and how to securely log in, how to remember the login things so that whenever we log in, our site changes accordingly. So it displays the username over here, first name and last name, your age and your origin, and also remove the login and registration link if you're already logged in. And if you're not logged in, then it will remove the logout link. And we will also create a logout page, so that you can log out, create a new account, and just keep testing that. Anyway, that was it. If you liked it, please thumbs up this video and subscribe for more. Also, I would really appreciate it if you comment down below on what you want to see in one of the next videos, and please provide some feedback on how I can improve my videos. I know I am saying a lot of so in the beginning of my sentences, and I am trying to unlearn that. I don't really know the word for that. And anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope I see you in the next episode.